Hey, what's happening? I thought that I would just jump on here and share with you something that came up for me today. I was speaking with Alyssa, who is new to our sales and marketing team at Addicted to Success. And, she asked me this question, and she had listened to a podcast interview with me that was recorded a few years back. And I shared a part of my story in that episode. And she asked me, Joel, you were in Miami, Florida at 21 years old, and you were working in the music industry, but you left that all behind to come back to Australia to start something new. What was that thing that made you drop your dream of being in the music industry and then come back to Australia to start anew? And I said to her, my experience was quite interesting, and it's funny because as I got deeper into it, I realized that so many people are going through this either right now, will go through it, or have gone through it before. And what it is it's this whole thing of self-betrayal. And what I mean by that is doing something because you think that other people will approve of it, or doing something because you think it's cool, or doing something because you think it's going to get you something of value long term, but really it's just a short term fulfillment. And so that was me. I had gone through this experience at school growing up in Perth, Western Australia. I went to high school, and I got bullied throughout school. Every day for me it was like stepping onto a battlefield. I was picked on for years. I was beaten down, I was spat on, I was kicked. I went through this terrible experience getting bullied at school. I tried to stand up to the bullies, and ultimately it turned into a lot of violence. And so what I did was I didn't want people to think that I was a loser, and so I channeled all of my energy into proving everybody wrong. And I channeled a lot of that energy into music. That was the closest thing to me at the time, and I was neglecting my needs. I didn't trust myself. I was easily impressionable. I would hang around people that I thought were cooler than me in order to become cooler myself and to be, to find approval. And ultimately it became this thing of I was living in desperation. I was trying to survive, trying to be like everyone else. And it's funny because in society, what we do is we try so hard to be approved by society instead of approving ourselves. First and foremost, so I was coming from a place that was of lack. I was coming from a place of scarcity. I was living in destruction, and I would do destructive things. I would go and go out there and just have sex with anyone, or I would drink lots of alcohol. I would take drugs. I'd party, and I would be doing these things for the sake of approval of others and to chase these feelings of short-term pleasure. And ultimately, it started really affecting my life. And I remember waking up every morning for about 3 months straight with this knot in my stomach. And this knot really was the feeling of I am not supposed to be here. This is not what I'm supposed to do. And I believe that we're brought from non-existence into existence in this world for a reason. Our life has meaning. Our life has purpose. And the problem was that I was so incongruent and not living in my purpose because I was so concerned with being the victor and being better than the bullies and everyone else in my life that didn't approve of me, that ultimately it ended up being this experience that I was living in for years of short-term fulfillment. And so I know a number of you listening to this right now, and you even leave a comment here or even like this and share this if this really resonates. A number of you are in a place right now where you may feel like you're in transition, where you've strived for so long because you've wanted to be approved by your parents or approved by friends closest to you, or you wanted to have that significant thing where you had the label or the title or better opinions coming your way from others for the sake of you feeling better about yourself. And I'm here to say that is not it. Right? It takes courage to believe in yourself. It takes courage to stand in your truth. It takes courage to sit down and place bets on yourself and to really write out your values, what you're clear on, and what really truly lights you up without any other interference from anybody else. And it takes courage to sit down and go, I'm worth an incredible vision for my future, and sitting down and really writing out your vision. And that's what I did. Everything shifted when I left that place where I was trying so hard. That's why I guess the word, I was trying so hard to be something great, and I was denying truly myself, and I was in self-betrayal. So please, if you're in self-betrayal right now, be real with yourself. Place bets on yourself. My question for you is, what would the ultimate version of you look like 5 or 10 years from now? What would that look like for you? Like really, you know, the authentic version of you, not the imitation, not the fabricated version of you, but the real version of you. What would that look like, right? What would you do if you were not seeking the approval of others? What would you choose in your life for you, not for anybody else? What would you choose? There's so many people I coach and speak to. I realize that so many of them have decided to step into a career because somebody else said it's a good idea, or their parents have hammered them and made them feel guilty because they've laid money out or their time and energy, or they're placing their dreams on them and living vicariously through them because they want them to have success for them and not for themselves. And so, you know, I'd say just you need to be really careful of this and really start operating from a place of inspiration rather than desperation. So many people are living in a desperate space to just survive, okay? And we're about thriving. It's like, what would you love to create? If there were no limits in your life, if you lived an edgeless life, what would you create for yourself? And I gotta say, the day that I really, you know, hung up the towel and said, I'm done and I'm moving from this space, and everyone around me thought I was crazy. I was worried about, you know, my friends that I was working with at the time in the music industry. I was worried that, you know, if I came to them and said I'm out, that I'm abandoning the vision that we shared together. I was worried about all those things, but ultimately the pain of staying in a place of desperation and trying to survive got so strong that it pushed me so much to start asking myself those questions that I just shared with you before. What would I love to create? What would I do if I wasn't seeking the approval of others? And how can I start trusting myself and start trusting the whispers of wisdoms, the things that you really truly know that you're here to do? Okay, so please place bets on yourself. Stop betraying yourself and start really believing in what you believe that you are worth and what you deserve.